Hello, welcome to Bohicaville. I'm Paul, and today is Thursday, October 17th, 2013. Well, the big disaster was averted, and Congress and the President finally reached an agreement last night to raise the debt ceiling, but only until January 15th. And the Republicans basically lost because this does nothing to accomplish their goals on cutting back on the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. So, um, what does this mean? Well, this means we're going to have to go through this same circus again in 3 months. And personally, I think 3 months from now, I'm not going to pay as much attention to it at this as I did this time because probably the same thing will happen. In the end, they'll end up raising the debt ceiling because that's what they always do. They always raise the debt ceiling at the last minute, and the one thing that never gets discussed in these debt ceiling negotiations is spending less money. Well, I think I said in my video last night, you can only kick the can down the road so far. So, but I want to talk a little bit about the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. I want to talk about it in the context of fundamental individual human liberty. Now, I'm going to tell you something about myself personally. As I sit here before you tonight, um, I weigh 320 pounds. That is how much I weighed when I stepped on the scale this morning. And I am 5'7". And yes, that means I am morbidly obese. However, 9 months ago, back in January of 2013, I weighed 450 pounds. I had gastric bypass surgery in February. So far, I have lost a total of 130 pounds. And I'm hoping before it's all said and done to lose another 130 pounds. But what I want to talk about here is who is responsible for the situation that I'm in and the situation I was in before having gastric bypass surgery. Now, you can say, well, society is at fault. And you could be partially right. There are some societal implications to obesity. You could say, well, it's the fast food industry. And you would be partially right because it's true that the fast food and the processed food industry in general puts ingredients into their food to make you want more. Okay? In a sense, they want you to be addicted to it because they want you to buy more. Okay? But in the end, you have to look in the mirror. Okay? And when I look in the mirror, or when I look into my webcam screen, as I am right now, I see the person who is responsible for my morbid obesity. It is me. If you are a smoker, you can say, Oh, well, that's a societal thing because it was acceptable in society when I started smoking. You could say, oh, well, it was the media. Some cool actor smoked in a movie, and that's how I started smoking. And those influences are partially true. But in the end, you have to look in the mirror. If you have a drug or alcohol problem, you can blame whoever got you started. You can blame some kind of gateway drug. But in the end, you have to look in the mirror. I am responsible for myself. You are responsible for yourself. That's all there is to it, really. The question is, should government be able to force us to do something against our will? And the answer to that question is no. Should the government be able to force an individual to purchase health insurance? No. Should the government be able to force someone with a weight problem to go on a diet or to have some kind of procedure to help with that individual's weight problem? No. Should the government be able to force an alcoholic or drug addict to go into treatment? No. Because there are rights. There are personal, individual, fundamental rights. Do you have the right to do something to your body that may not be healthy for you, but will not have any effect on anyone around you? Yes. And I know it's tough to say that. That's tough because rights are difficult things because they carry with them, especially the personal, individual liberty rights, carry with them the responsibility for your actions. Okay. Now, whatever damage I have done to my body as a result of being morbidly obese for so much of my adult life, that's my business. Okay? No one put a gun to my head and told me to overeat all those years. No one's putting a gun to the head of any alcoholic and saying, drink. No one's putting a gun to the head of any cocaine addict and say, snort this line of coke. That, in the end, is being done by choice. Okay. It is a right. If you want to harm yourself, as long as you're not harming anyone else or interfering with anyone else's life, then government should leave you alone. Because it's your life and it's your responsibility. Just like this is my life and my responsibility. Now, I don't have any idea how much my weight problems will affect my life expectancy? I really don't know at this point. I know they have affected my personal health up to this point. I have spinal stenosis in my back. I have severe degenerative osteoarthritis in my back and both hips, and I suspect that now in both knees as well. And I know that those symptoms are much worse because of all the extra weight I've carried around. That is my responsibility, which came about as a result of my choices. Okay. If you develop any of the health issues that go along with smoking, such as lung cancer, emphysema, or any kind of COPD, that's your responsibility because it came about as a result of your choice. Should the government have the right to force you to be healthy if you are not interfering with anyone else's life? No. But the flip side to that is, should the government have to pay for your health issues that may come about as a result of the choices you have made? Should the government, i.e., the taxpayers, have to pay for the consequences of that? No. And that's what makes it so tricky. And I think maybe that's why so many people are willing to give up their God-given rights because they don't want the responsibility. Rights and liberties are something that government cannot grant and cannot take away. They just exist. They are part of who we are. They are part of humanity. They are just there. Government cannot restrict them. The cost for those rights and liberties is personal responsibility. You have to be responsible for yourself. No one else can do it for you. Big government nanny state can't. Your family can't. Your friends can't. Your family and friends can certainly help you along the way, but in the end, it's you and that mirror. And sometimes it's tough looking in there, but that's part of having individual rights. That's all I have for tonight. Ciao.